Okay, think about this for a second. When someone comes at you, they disrespect you, they provoke you, what's that first gut instinct? It's to fire back, right? To defend yourself, to set the record straight. And look, that's totally human. But what if I told you that gut instinct is actually the weakest move you can possibly make? And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. We're going to explore a completely counterintuitive strategy, one that just flips the entire script on power dynamics. It shows you how the most powerful, the most devastating response to an attack is to do nothing. Absolutely nothing at all.
So first, we have to understand something I like to call the reaction trap. See, we think that when we clap back, when we give them a piece of our mind, we're showing strength. But in the real psychology of power, a reaction isn't a show of strength. It's actually a sign of submission.
This is the perfect way to picture it. The second you give them that emotional response, that flash of anger, that defensive explanation, you've just handed them the controls. You've basically told them, yep, you have the power to mess with my head. You've just become their puppet, and their words are now pulling your strings.
So just think about the difference here. When you react, you're submitting, you're fueling the fire, and you're validating them, you're showing them they got under your skin. But on the flip side, when you choose non-reaction, well, now you're asserting your own power. You starve the conflict of the very emotional oxygen it needs to breathe. You invalidate their entire attempt to provoke you, and most importantly, you stay in control.
So to really get this, you have to understand the game that's being played. Why are they provoking you in the first place? What are they really after? Because I guarantee you, it's almost never about what they say they're angry about. No, it's about something way, way deeper.
And that brings us to this key psychological concept, narcissistic supply. See, an aggressor, who's often feeling pretty insecure or chaotic on the inside, they need to see a reaction from you to feel powerful and stable. Your reaction, whether it's anger or sadness, it's literally what they feed on to prop up their own fragile ego. They have to destabilize you just to feel stable themselves.
Think of it like a fire. The conflict is the fire, and the aggressor is desperately trying to make it roar. And here's the kicker. Your reaction, your anger, your justifications, all of it. That's the oxygen. So by lashing out, you're not putting out the fire. You're pouring gasoline all over it and giving them exactly what they craved.
So how does this actually work? Let's get into the science behind why silence is such a lethal counter strategy, because it's not just about ignoring somebody. There are some really powerful psychological principles at play that make this whole thing tick. Okay, a quick heads up here, because you need to be prepared for this. It's a concept called an extinction burst. When you first stop giving them the reaction they want, their bad behavior won't just stop. Oh no, it's going to get worse. They'll get louder, more desperate, because they're scrambling to get that hit of attention they're used to. And this is where most people cave. But if you can just hold the line through this burst, that's when everything changes. So what is actually going on inside their head when you refuse to play the game? When you just stand there, totally calm, totally silent, while they're melting down? Well, something pretty fascinating is happening on a neurological level.
You see, all of us, we're wired with something called mirror neurons. They're these little brain cells that make us subconsciously copy the emotions of the people around us. It's why you can't help but smile when someone gives you a big grin, or why you feel tense when someone else is angry. It's how we connect. Normally, if they yell, your mirror neurons are screaming at you to yell right back. But when you refuse to mirror their chaos, you break that entire circuit. You create this kind of emotional vacuum. By staying calm, you're not giving their anger anywhere to land. Your silence literally becomes a mirror, forcing them to sit all alone with their own toxic behavior. And without your reaction to justify it, all of a sudden they see their own ugliness reflected back at them. And deep down, they feel ridiculous.
Okay, so that's the theory. Awesome. But how do you actually do this in the heat of the moment, when every single fiber of your being is screaming at you to fight back? Well, let's break it down into a simple, practical toolkit you can use right away.
Here are 3 steps. First up, the pause. If you absolutely have to say something, wait 3 full seconds. Just 1, 2, 3. That pause is just long enough to switch your brain from that knee-jerk emotional reaction to a calmer, more logical one. Second, the Stoic Gaze. Now don't glare at them, that's still a reaction. Instead, just maintain soft eye contact, almost like you're observing a curious bug. It communicates, I am not threatened by you. And third, if they just keep pushing, use the gray rock method.
Become as boring and uninteresting as a plain gray rock. Give them short, dead-end answers like, okay, or I see. The game is over the moment you refuse to play.
And that brings us to our final and honestly our most important point. We have to completely redefine what revenge and what winning actually mean in these moments. Because it's not about winning an argument or landing some witty comeback. It's something else entirely.
You know, there's a saying that perfectly captures this. The best revenge is simply showing them that their attempt to hurt you failed. The ultimate power move isn't about hurting them back. It's about demonstrating your own unshakable resilience. It's showing them, with your calm, with your silence, that their best shot, their most vicious attack, had zero effect on you.
So here's the real takeaway. This whole strategy, it isn't really about them at all. It's about you. It's the moment you realize that your own internal peace is infinitely more valuable than their desperate need for attention. The true victory is walking away from that encounter with your energy, your dignity, and your peace completely intact.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. The next time someone tries to drag you down into their chaos, to pull your strings and get a rise out of you, just remember what we talked about here. Who's going to be in control, you or them? The choice is always yours.